This I guess it doesn't fit in the categories usually. So this is like holiday tradition. Most people got together for like family and stuff like that. But around like 19, what we would do, we had like a little carouse of college friends and stuff like that. And around the time Christmas break would start to come around, we got a good idea at the time to take an unholy amount of LSD and wander around in public. And it was like a yearly tradition, so this is the first time that that tradition came into effect. And just to give a sense of, because naturally when you're doing this, you hole up in a room with records and you're like, okay, let's wait for it to take effect. And you naturally wait way too long. You're just kind of like, are you feeling it yet? And everybody's just like, well, I don't know, but my face is melting off, and that's fantastic. So either that's independent of the drugs we just took or something else. So naturally, by the time you actually go, let's go out in public, you think you're much more together than you are. So just as a precursor to this story, the first forage we go into public because it's always something stupid. It's like, oh, do you have any orange juice? No. I think there's some in the other building. And so everybody goes, yes, let's go. So you've got this, the way that the campus of anonymity is set up is that there's a dorm room here, or a dorm building here, like a dorm building here, and like this little plaza in the middle called, like, we call it the disgruntled smoking plaza. And it had snowed because it always does something to make your life more dangerous the second you're like, oh, woo, okay. So what they had done, the first encounter with the snow, which should have given us a heads up, is that to sweep it, for some reason, whoever had swept the plaza just basically created a little mountain in the middle, but by that point it hadn't snowed that much. So basically in the middle of the plaza you have a pile of snow about this high, and maybe from that end of that mic stand to that end of that mic stand. And you have two lonely travelers going to visit the people that have orange juice, and they reach the hill, and you just see them stop. And I may be one of these people, and he's trying to figure out how to possibly get around this obstacle that God has cruelly thrown in the way. And after at least 60 seconds, someone finally goes, let's go around. And there's a nodding, and we part, meet in the middle, and keep going. So that's like the area of messed up where this is happening. It's the type of time where you say profound things like, what if every time you spit, you leave a part of yourself behind? And normally, like, that's not, you could say that sober, but the difference is that normally everybody around you would be like, do you have a head injury? What is your problem? But in the wonderful culture of LSD, everybody's just like, oh my God, how many times have I spat today? I can't do math anymore. This is horrifying. So that, you spend like the whole day like making an entire, like trying to use every word in a box of magnetic poetry to fill up a fridge door, and that takes up an hour, and that's fantastic. But then you make bad decisions and you end up outside. And outside, there was just a little bit of snow, but now there's a layer of ice over everything. The world is an Armageddon of evil. And you're sitting there, kind of a geography of the situation is, there's the whole big building, brightly lit, all that kind of stuff, safety up here. And then there's a long, winding hill that it's hard to give the scale of it, but like there's a parking lot at the bottom of it, and like it's far enough away that like the women call it the rape lot. So you know it's not like right next to the building, because that's not a nickname that like brightly lit parking lots ever get. It's far, 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 and like if you're walking up, you like see people about that big. And there's a sheet of cardboard that my friends have found, and they're trying to sled with it, but it's stuck to the ground with ice. So they're basically doing, and it's moving like maybe an inch every time they do that. And they abandon that and start playing with fire or something, leaving me to go into my head. And in my head, I get an idea that physics is an important thing, and it leaves us sometimes. So I think I'm going to run at this. I've never seen anything as clearly in my life as this imagination. as running, jumping into the air, landing on this frozen piece of cardboard, which will then break loose, and I will surf on the ice down a good 50 feet of steep slope of hill. And I see at the bottom of it, I will somehow, and I can't even skateboard, turn around and look at my friends and wave. That's the plan that's popped into my head. Two important things. One, my history with balance. I received the nickname Puddles in a Waffle House because I can't even avoid spilling cups of coffee when I'm slightly messed up. Often we'll just be standing in a circle, just talking, but if there's the slightest bit of ice on the ground, in the middle of a conversation, I will just upend and smack on the pavement, just for no reason. It's why they hang out with me, basically, is that I'm just like this comic relief of whack, and it's like, oh, okay. And so there's that. The other important thing is that perspective is important. So basically, from my friend's perspective, they can't see me thinking of the ramp and everything. All they know is that for 5 minutes I just stand there staring at the cardboard, breathing heavily. Just this stasis, to the point where, you start looking around being like, is he okay? Just let him work through whatever's going on. He'll be fine. He'll know that something's happened. He'll find God. It'll be great. And then just from that stasis of just this kind of lax thing, probably with drool, all of a sudden I explode into motion towards this cardboard. So they're just in the middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden in the background I'm like, yeah! War cry. Take the flying leap, hit the ice cardboard, and it doesn't go off like a surfboard. And it in fact basically kind of, what happens is that the cardboard goes up here, and my head goes down here, and then all of a sudden there's just a ka-smack, and just silence for a good time. And the firework, there's just kind of all you hear is from everybody else there, and then there's like, Rama, are you okay? And there's a long pause, and then I reply, no? They're like, you landed on your face. Yeah? And so I get up and start trying to keep the conversation going, try to explain that I was about to surf. You just messed it up because you didn't believe. And then all of a sudden there's blood coming out from under my boggin, and I'm like, and so they take me upstairs, and I got a new part on my face, which was awesome. It was a little bump under my eyebrow. I felt really hardcore at the time. But that started off our yearly tradition of being a little bit smarter about the weather, but keeping doing stupid things. Thank you.